The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. approves institutionalization of basic social security programs. The Department of Justice stresses that the acts of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. fall under the anti-terrorism law. Justice Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla confirms that former Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bandag has offered to surrender. And Russia warns South Korea to retract its military support and combat aid to Ukraine in its war against the invasion. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, April 20, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harleen Delgado. First in the news. Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan said the Marcos administration wants to institutionalize the existing development programs to shield vulnerable sectors from slipping into poverty amid the challenging times. Nel Maribohok reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has approved the recommendation for the Social Protection Floor or SPF, which aims to institutionalize the government's current initiatives that cater to the needs of the most vulnerable Filipinos. In a press briefing in Malacanang, National Economic and Development Authority Secretary Arsenio Balisacan announced NEDA Board's approval of the SPF recommendations with proposed strategies for social protection guarantees for healthcare, children, active age, and older persons.
The intention is to institutionalize the existing programs, especially those that have been proven to work, so that we don't have to restart all over again when there are need to provide support to vulnerable groups. No?
The Philippines, he said, is a country that is very much exposed to a lot of risk, such as climate change risk, noting the administration wants to make sure that when the vulnerable members of society are exposed to those risks, they do not fall into poverty.
That's the basic concept there, that we reduce the risk faced by vulnerable groups so that they don't fall into poverty, so that children don't become victims of lack of learning, become.
SPF refers to nationally defined set of basic social security guarantees that aim to prevent or alleviate poverty, vulnerability, and social exclusion, guaranteeing the provision of protection to individuals and families in times of need. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
An overseas Filipino worker or OFW has been injured in the ongoing clashes in Sudan between the Sudanese army and paramilitaries in Khartoum. Meanwhile, over 80 Filipinos are requesting to be repatriated. Janice and Henta will tell us why.
The Department of Foreign Affairs and Philippine Embassy in Egypt are closely monitoring the situation among the Filipinos in Khartoum, Sudan. According to DFA Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega, an overseas Filipino worker or OFW has been injured in the ongoing clashes between the Sudanese army and the paramilitaries in Khartoum, Sudan.
Walang casualty Pilipino so far, pero may isang Pilipino na natamaan daw ng stray bullet, yung nadaplisan ng stray bullet, dinala sa hospital at nagre-recover na raw. Yan ang sabi ng ating embahada ayon sa kanilang mga sources.
According to the information received by the DFA, some Filipinos in Khartoum, Sudan are trapped in their place, while some are advised to stay indoors to avoid being hit by stray bullets and shrapnels.
Wala pa pong nakakarating sa aming supply hanggang ngayon ng pagkain at wala na po kami makain dito dahil hindi po kami makalabas, hindi po kami makabili sa tindahan. So yung mga na-stock po namin pagkain is mauubos na. Takot po kaming lumabas kahit po sinasabi nila na ceasefire, hindi po kami lumalabas dahil masyadong delikado po dito sa area namin. Pinagbabawalan din po kaming lumabas.
Hinihiling lang po talaga namin dito ang pagkain namin. Tinangka po namin lumikas kahapon, papunta kami ng malayong lugar. Kaso po, sabi ng matanda dito sa kapitbahay namin, wag na wag kayong lalabas at delikadong-delikado kayo. So nagtatago na lang po kami dito. Ang kailangan po namin ngayon talaga po ay tubig sa kapagkain.
De Vega says the Philippine Embassy in Egypt and Consulate are doing all they can to reach out the Filipinos in the area and to give them food supplies.
Hindi kaya ng 24-hour ceasefire na para ma-rescue mga Pilipino kasi hindi natin gagamitin ng eroplano by land. 9 hours to 10 hours galing Cairo para pumunta doon. Kailangan ceasefire tumagal ng ideally 1 week. Pero kung kaya man kahit na 48, 72 hours gagawin nyo. Pero kailangan handa ang Pilipino pag sinabihan, susunduin namin kayo dito at mag-pack na kayo, ganyan.
Meanwhile, over 87 Filipinos in Sudan are now seeking relocation, while some want to be repatriated. De Vega says that they are now forming a rapid response team and to looking for ways to help Filipinos, especially since there have been no flights allowed to go in or out of Sudan.
Naghanap kami ng contacts para padalan sila ng pagkain, supplies. Yung meron tayong honorary consul doon. Problema lang po, lahat ng mga kinaukulan doon, sinasabihin lahat ng tao na civilian, huwag mag-step outside. Nagagawa kami ng steps para mauwi na yung mga gustong umuwi kasi saradong airport. Yun ang isang napakalaking challenge sa atin. At hindi lang sa atin, sa ibang mga bansa rin.
Janice Inhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Justice stressed that the acts of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. fall under the anti-terrorism law. Dante Amento tells us why.
Department of Justice or DOJ Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla said that they are in the process of terrorist designation of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. Remulla explained that activities such as the recruitment of assassination groups and purchasing of firearms to kill are acts of terrorism. The Justice Chief recently disclosed that Teves Jr. is the financier and the main mastermind in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Ruel Digamo.
Yung nagpapapatay, yung nagre-recruit ng taong pumatay, yung mga gumagastos sa pera para magpapatay, yung bumibili ng mga barel para magpapatay, yung ang tao yung natatakot dahil sa nangyayari, ang pananakot na nangyayari, ang takot na isipan ng tao sa isang lugar, yan mga bagay yan na naroon sa anti-terror law.
Remulla also wants to talk to the National Bureau of Investigation or NBI Regional Director in Central Visayas, whom Teves allegedly threatened to stop the operations against Isabong in the area. This would help them with the terrorist designation of Teves.
I have to talk to him, to Mr. Oliva. I have to know. I will ask him to make a sworn statement so we can make it part of the case. Kasi it's part of the profile that will be established in the Anti-Terror Council when we start designating him.
Just recently, Congressman Teves Jr. called the act of DOJ as funny. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
As a Senate panel suspends its inquiry on the Digamo Slay and Negros killings, Senator Ronald De La Rosa turns emotional over the involvement of several cops and various irregularities in the province. This report will tell us why. Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa shed some tears as the Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs wrapped up its third hearing on the Degamo slay. This as he expressed dismay on the involvement of erring cops in several shooting incidents and killings in Negros Oriental. A former top cop, de la Rosa says it pains him that corrupt police officers tarnish the reputation of the Philippine National Police as an institution.
Dapat makonsensya kayo, kayong mga may ginagawang masama. Bugbog na yung ating organisasyon, yung ating institusyon. Maawa naman kayo.
Before the hearing ended yesterday, Police Staff Sergeant Noel Alabata was detained in the Senate after he was cited in contempt. Alabata was the alleged gunman of two businessmen in Dumaguete, Anthony Ong and Sandy Tinungha, who survived the attack in 2021. Alabata denied that he carried firearms and claimed that he has no knowledge on who paid his bail. In the previous hearing, the two victims tagged Alabata and another police official as connected to suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnie Teves.
Ang ulo ko, sir, biyak po yung ulo ko, sir. Hindi ko po talaga alam kung ano nangyari sa akin, sir. Totoo yan, sir. Hindi ko nga alam kung bakit ako nandun sa ospital, kung ano pangalan ko. Hindi ko talaga alam, sir. Yes, sir.
May dala ka bang dalawang baril?
Actually, sir, ang nangyari, sir, makikita po yan sa original CCTV, sir.
Sige kang CCTV, CCTV-hin na kita eh. Ha? Paulit-ulit ka. Alam mo naman kung may baril ka o wala. Bakit CCTV pang pasabihin mo na may baril ka o wala kang baril? Ha?
Ito kasi, sir.
Alam mo kung may dala ka o hindi. Klarong nagsinungaling ka eh.
Since the Police Staff Sergeant Alibata refuses or doesn't know how to answer, refuses to answer my questions, and I think he has selective memory, I am forced to cite this person in contempt.
Admitting that the incidents caused low morale in the PNP, De La Rosa has this to say to the police force.
Just trust the process. Mas marami pa rin pulis na matino. Kung kunti lang yan, siraulong pulis. Kaya isa yun sa kinakasama ng loob ko. Kasi ako kasama ko sa matino na pulis.
Meanwhile, the senator also revealed that he has spoken with former President Rodrigo Duterte, who claimed that an elder Teves pressured a big businessman in giving up land in the province.
Pumunta sa kanya at nagreklamo tungkol doon sa lupa na kanilang nabili doon sa kay late Herminio Teves na pamilya, na sila daw ay talagang ginipit doon at napilitan na lang silang i-give up yung lupa na kanilang pinagmamayari. So yan lang ang sabi ni former President Duterte. Sabihin mo doon sa hearing, naggalit ako dyan dahil naglapit sa akin si Gokong Wei.
The Senate panel temporarily suspends its inquiry on the Degamo slay and Negros killings. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God. Department of Justice or DOJ Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla said that former Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bandag has offered to surrender. Remulla added Bandag called to his colleague or a cabinet secretary and told him about the plan of Bandag. There is no alleged condition given by the former Bucor chief for his surrender. But Remulla believes it is not an easy situation being a fugitive of the law.
Alam mo, mahirap magtago. Mahirap magtago sa batas. It should be very difficult. I would say it's difficult. Hindi madali mag-wanted.
Bandag is now wanted after courts in Muntinlupa City and Las Piñas City issued arrest warrants against him for 2 counts of murder cases. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
And foreign news abroad. Russia expressed disappointment with South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's remark of following through on considerations to provide weapons to Ukraine. Marvi Delfin tells us why, live. Yes, Marvi, good evening.
Good evening, Marielle. Russia on Wednesday, April 19, threatened South Korea to retract its military support and combat aid to Ukraine in its war against the invasion. The Russian embassy in South Korea stated in a Telegram post that South Korea's proposed approach of increasing its shipments to Kyiv would have a negative effect on their bilateral interaction and would worsen their security situation. This after South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol revealed in an interview with Reuters that it might be difficult for the republic to continue with its self-imposed limits on the matter. Since the beginning of the war, South Korea, one of the world's fastest-growing manufacturers, has provided more than $100 million in humanitarian aid, while Russia currently supplies around 1/4 of South Korea's crude oil exports and has significant influence over North Korea. Meanwhile, the leader of the opposition party, Lee Jae-myung, urged Mr. Yoon to reconsider his remarks on how potentially giving Ukraine lethal assistance would be detrimental to the country's interests. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Marvi Delfin, for that live report. With the Australian border fully reopened following COVID-19 travel restrictions, universities cracked down on Indian international students as fraudulent visa applications surge. This after concerns that the country's immigration system is being compromised with migrants using student visa pathway to access work rights easier and consultancy agencies exploiting students for commission. With the announcement of a new higher education partnership resulting from Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Indian counterpart Narendra Modi's meeting last month, annual applications are estimated to break the pre-pandemic record of 75,000. 5 universities have taken action so far and called on the Department of Home Affairs to impose tougher rules. In February, it was revealed that Australia's Home Affairs only accepted 6% of application from India for vocational studies. Tech company Seagate has been penalized $300 million for shipping 7 million hard drives to Chinese tech corporation Huawei. Paul Gatchalian will give us the details live. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Marielle. Seagate has been found to have shipped to Huawei over 7 million hard drives worth over $1 billion, selling the hard drives a year after the Export Administration regulations implemented an export ban against Huawei. The United States implemented the export rules in an effort to protect the country's national security and to prevent China from receiving U.S. technology that might aid the Chinese military and human rights abuses. According to the Department of Commerce, Seagate entered a 3-year agreement with Huawei, selling hard drives from August 2020 until September 2021, in the absence of 2 competitors stopping their shipments to China. As a result, Seagate has been penalized $300 million, more than twice what BIS estimates their net profit to be. The company has agreed to pay a $300 million penalty with quarterly installments of $15 million over 5 years. Meanwhile, due to the settlement, Seagate will be releasing their financial results before the 3rd quarter of 2023, Thursday when their markets open. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Paul Gatchalian, for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Maria Latoza, reporting live from Perth, Australia. Good evening.
Supply of plastic cards, which are used for printing driver's license, will run out starting next week, according to the Land Transportation Office. JP Nunez will tell us why.
As early as today, there are offices of Land Transportation Office or LTO which cannot issue driver's license card. LTO Chief Assistant Secretary Gerald Tugade said even in the National Capital Region, there are offices which can only issue temporary driver's license.
As of today, meron po tayong mga offices na po na wala na pong driver's license.
The LTO said there are now only 147,000 supply of plastic cards nationwide which are used to print driver's license. The agency estimates that this supply can only last until next week with an average of 30,000 daily issued driver's license card.
Yun po ang forecast po ng LTO is completely po mauubos yung inventory on hand ng mga offices by the last week of April.
ASEC Tugade explained that the delay in the procurement was after the Department of Transportation or DOTR issued an order late January this year. Based on the special order, if the procurement process will reach more than 50 million pesos, it should be conducted by the Central Office of DOTR. The budget for the plastic cards cost 249 million pesos which could produce up to more than 5 million driver's license card. That is enough supply for the whole year.
Sometime in January, when we were ready to procure the licenses, we received a department order whereby the department order instructed us that all procurement involving 50 million and above shall be conducted by the DOTR Central Office.
To address the issue, the LTO will honor official receipt as their temporary driver's license. This will be printed on a piece of paper with the official receipt number and the QR code for authentication. The details which should be printed on a plastic card will temporarily be printed along with the official receipt. Even a digital copy of the official receipt will be honored by the LTO.
Aside from that piece of paper, pwede pong picturean yan. So pwedeng picturean, tapos save nyo po sa phone nyo. Yung QR code po, once you take a picture, yung QR code po, pwede pa rin ma-activate.
Meanwhile, Department of Transportation hopes to procure enough plastic cards before supply runs out. DOTR states that it is now currently working to be allowed to purchase part of the total volume of license cards needed by the LTO, while the terms of reference submitted by the agency in late March 2023 is still being evaluated. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Despite the rising number of COVID-19 cases in the country, the utilization of private hospitals remains manageable. Gladys Tuabi will tell us why.
The Department of Health or DOH has reported an increase in COVID-19 cases in the country. However, despite the upward trend, there are still fewer admissions in private hospitals for COVID-19.
Yung hospital utilization po, hindi naman ganun tumataas po. Especially po sa private hospitals, halos di naman, very manageable po.
According to Dr. Jose Rene Degano, President of Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines, elderly individuals and those with comorbidities who are infected with the virus are the ones being admitted for monitoring.
Usually, ang nagpapa-admit po ay yung may mga comorbid conditions sa mga elderly. Yung pong sinasabi natin na age-1 population, kung nagpa-positive po sila, ina-advise po sila ng admission for monitoring po. Pero kung mga nagpa-positive po sila at hindi naman sila member ng mga with comorbid condition, pinapauwi na lang po at doon po pinapa-observe na.
Meanwhile, the DOH says the country's system is already prepared to handle and respond to COVID-19, so the public has nothing to be alarmed about.
What would be most important for all of us would be na ang mga ospital po natin ay hindi nakakapagtala ng maraming admissions na mga kaso, hindi rin po nakakapagtala na mas maraming severe at critical na kaso.
Currently, hospitals in the National Capital Region and some areas in Mindanao are being monitored. Gladys Tawabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Bahay. As the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International. And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 17, it says, "Be not overmuch wicked, neither be thou foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time?" And those are the reasons behind the news April 20, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am Hardin Delgado. We serve the people, we give glory to God.